She crosses her legs slowly, the movement deliberate, almost theatrical. Her eyes dart away as though retreating into innocence. But in truth, the gesture is a ritual older than language. You see a woman shift in her seat and you tell yourself, it's nothing. A meaningless adjustment of posture, yet every fiber of her body is speaking. Attraction is never announced, never confessed in word. It pulses through the hidden theater of body language. Through glances and gestures so fleeting you dismiss them as chance. But chance is a lie. Her signals are ancient, unconscious. And if you don't learn to read them, you'll always remain outside the gates of her hidden kingdom. The body becomes the battlefield where desire and restraint wrestle. When a woman wants you, she cannot stand perfectly still. Her hands betray her. She brushes the rim of her glass too often, her fingers circling like a slow chant. She touches her neck, exposing the most vulnerable curve of her body, as if instinctively revealing the softness she would never declare in words. That slight tilt of her chin, the lingering pause when you speak. These are not accidents. They are openings, but most men miss them. Too lost in their own self-doubt, blind to the living script being performed right before them. You think she hides because she is shy. Wrong. She hides because female desire, throughout history, has been forced into the shadows. A woman's open longing was always punished, shamed, or cheapened. So the feminine adapted, encoding her hunger in subtle signals, disguising need as accident. The game is ancient, and unless you, the man, learn to see beneath the veil, you will mistake silence for disinterest, distance for rejection, when in fact she is pulling you in with invisible strings. Her eyes are the first confession. When attraction burns, the eyes never behave like obedient servants. They glance, retreat, then return. You catch her looking at you. Then she looks away instantly, as if scorched by her own exposure. You assume she's uninterested. But in truth, the eyes betray what the lips cannot risk saying. The longer her glance lingers on you when she thinks you are not watching, the louder her body screams. Her pupils widen. Her blink slows. Her gaze lingers on your mouth just half a second longer than normal. This is the forbidden script, the language that few men ever bother to translate. And then comes the play of distance. She will position herself near you without declaring it. Her body will lean closer, even when her words stay cautious. Watch for the angle of her torso, the way her knees point in your direction. Even across a crowded room, attraction is gravitational. She may try to mask it with polite detachment, but the unconscious always betrays her. If she lingers in your space, if she doesn't recoil when you step closer, she is speaking to you in the oldest dialect of desire. Yet here is where most men fall. You, listening now, have probably ignored these signs countless times. She brushed her hair behind her ear. She leaned just an inch closer. Her laughter carried a tremor, but you rationalized it away. You told yourself it was just friendliness, just her being polite. And by failing to act, you let her slip into the arms of another man who dared to see what you refused to acknowledge. Women despise men who cannot read them, who cannot feel the invisible pulse of tension. If you stay blind, you remain outside, forever begging for words she will never give you. The truth is dangerous, almost forbidden to speak. Women want to be wanted without having to confess it. Their cues are silent invitations, secret keys placed in your hand. But if you hesitate, if you fumble, if you doubt, the moment evaporates. She retreats, ashamed of having shown too much, and the gate slams shut. Desire is fleeting. You either seize it or lose it, and once it's gone, it rarely returns. So ask yourself, how many times have you failed to notice? How many women lingered, waiting for your recognition, only to leave, convinced that you were blind to their fire? The bitter truth is that most men walk through life surrounded by signals, surrounded by women secretly offering themselves, and never see a single one. They think attraction is hidden, rare, mystical, but it's there, encoded in every gesture, every pause, every look. Only the man with eyes to see can unlock it. Desire does not shout. It whispers, and she is whispering to you now, in ways you never thought to hear. If you ignore her body's language, you'll be forever deaf to the world of silent invitation. If you learn to see, the entire realm of feminine psychology opens before you. She wants you right now, but only if you dare to read her. Her lips part slightly as she listens, and you dismiss it as nothing more than a breath. But the parted lips are a crack in the mask, a raw glimpse of the hunger that simmers beneath her calm exterior. When she moistens them with the tip of her tongue, when her teeth graze the edge of her smile, she is unconsciously broadcasting her desire. The mouth is the primal gate, the echo of feeding and kissing, of speech and surrender. A woman's lips reveal far more than her words ever could. Yet you, like most men, have been trained to hear only what is spoken. You forget that attraction has always existed in silence. The feminine body performs a dance of contradictions. She conceals, she reveals, she covers her chest with folded arms, only to let her fingers slowly drift across her collarbone. Moments later, she turns away, feigning disinterest, but her heel taps with restless energy, betraying the storm within. Women are masters of disguise, and yet their disguises are riddled with cracks, no matter how much she wishes to appear composed. Her biology leaks the truth, the dilation of her pupils, the quickening of her breath, the warmth rising in her cheeks. These are not conscious choices. They are betrayals of the body, ancient signals passed down through generations, designed to lure the masculine eye. Think of how she touches herself when she speaks to you. Her hand brushes her hair back more often than needed. Her palm hovers near her throat. Her fingers trace the rim of her glass. These are not random fidgets. They are invitations. The neck, the hair, the lips. Every touch is a performance. Every gesture, a symbolic offering. She is unconsciously drawing your eyes to the places she secretly wishes you would touch. And yet men stand there, numb, oblivious, thinking she's just nervous. Have you noticed how she mirrors you? You lean back. She leans back. You cross your arms. She mirrors the motion within moments. This is no coincidence. Mirroring is the unconscious choreography of attraction, her body aligning with yours as though pulled by invisible strings. She does not plan it. She does not think about it. But the body cannot lie. Her nervous system syncs with yours. Her rhythm falls into your rhythm. That is desire disguised as harmony. And if you fail to recognize it, you insult the very essence of her femininity. Consider her laughter, Too often, men think a woman's laugh is simply a response to humor. But laughter, when charged with attraction, carries a tremor. She laughs a little louder than necessary, tilts her head back just a little more, exposing the curve of her throat in a gesture as old as courtship itself. She's not laughing at the joke. She's laughing at the way you make her feel. And if you've ever stood there, unsure, doubting whether she wanted you, her laughter was the proof you ignored. But here lies the forbidden truth. Women will rarely confess their desire openly. It is too risky. To confess would be to gamble her reputation, her safety, her control, so she encodes it, hides it in plain sight, trusts that the man with true vision will see. She longs for you to decode her signals without forcing her to spell them out. If you fail to notice, she feels rejected, exposed, humiliated. And when a woman feels she revealed herself in vain, she shuts down forever. You, listening now, must ask yourself, how many of these signals have you discarded? How many times have you let her lean closer, touch her lips, laugh too long, and yet you stayed frozen, waiting for words she would never speak? You've been blind, hesitant, weak, and in that hesitation, you let your power slip away. Another man, sharper, bolder, read the signals and claimed the prize. Women reward the man who dares to say what others overlook. They punish the man who remains blind to their unspoken hunger. Her body is not just flesh. It is a script, a myth, a secret code of attraction. To ignore it is to exile yourself from the very truth of desire. When her lips part, when her eyes linger, when her body tilts toward you, these are the hidden keys. If you do not learn to turn them, you will forever remain locked outside, fumbling at the gates of a world she longs for you to enter. She wants you, but only the man who reads the silence will ever know. She adjusts her hair, fingers weaving through the strands as if taming chaos. To the untrained eye, it is meaningless, but to the man who watches closely, it is revelation. The act of grooming herself in your presence is not vanity. It is preparation. She is signaling that you are worth her best presentation, that her body is aligning with her attraction. The hair toss, the subtle tilt of her head, the exposed line of her neck. These are symbols older than civilization, rooted in the animal kingdom where females displayed their most vulnerable spots to invite trust and closeness. When she does this, she is whispering without sound. See me, want me, claim me. Look closer at her feet and legs. A woman's legs are her hidden weapons, often overlooked by men fixated only on the face or the chest. But the lower body is primal, honest, impossible to fully disguise. When she points her toes toward you, when her legs uncross and open in your direction, her body is betraying her inner pull, the slow crossing and uncrossing of legs, especially when paired with lingering eye contact, is not nervousness. It is seduction in disguise. Her body is restless because desire does not like to sit still. If you miss this, you miss the thunder beneath the quiet surface. Notice the rhythm of her breathing. Attraction quickens the pulse, accelerates oxygen, makes her chest rise and fall in subtle waves. She leans closer, breath slightly faster, lips parted just enough to let you feel the energy between you. Men often think this is random, but there is nothing random about it. Biology does not lie. The body prepares itself for intimacy long before the mind admits it. If her breath trembles when you speak, if her voice softens when she answers, you are standing in the presence of desire she cannot name. But why does she hide? Because the feminine has always learned that desire must be veiled. From ancient cultures to modern society, women have been taught to never display hunger too openly. It must be disguised, deniable, always cloaked in innocence. So she wraps her desire in signals, small enough to escape judgment, clear enough for the man with true sight to catch. This is the forbidden paradox. She wants you to see, but she wants to be able to deny it if you fail to respond. If you are blind, she withdraws and tells herself she was never interested. If you are sharp, she rewards you by allowing the game to unfold. You have ignored this before. Remember the woman who lingered just a second too long in your orbit. The girl whose hand brushed your arm in a crowded room. The one whose laughter grew louder when you entered. You dismissed it. You told yourself it was politeness, coincidence, friendliness, and in your blindness, you lost her. Because she gave you the key, and you refused to turn it. This is why women grow cold, why they vanish without explanation. Not because they were never drawn to you, but because you failed to see what was burning right before your eyes. Her silence is never empty. When she pauses before answering, when she lets the air between you thicken, she is not at a loss for words. She is inviting you into the unspoken. Women live in subtext, in undertones, in the language beneath language. Every delay, every pause, every silence is charged. But most men, terrified of silence, rush to fill it with chatter. And in that rush, they destroy the tension she was carefully weaving. Attraction thrives in silence. If you can hold it, if you can let her eyes do the speaking, you step into the realm where desire truly lives. Here is the bitter truth. Most men are blind, not because the signals are hidden, but because they are cowards. They are too afraid to assume she wants them, too weak to risk being wrong, too timid to claim what is being offered. But women do not reward timidity. They reward the man who acts as though he sees the truth. If you wait for her to confess, you will wait forever. She will never spell it out, because spelling it out kills the magic. She will only ever signal. It is your task to read. Ask yourself now, how many of these signs surround you daily? How many women part their lips, tilt their necks, adjust their bodies when you enter, and yet you walk past blind? You have been asleep, wandering in a fog, deaf to the whispers of the feminine. If you remain blind, you will always be a beggar at the feast, starving while the table of desire is set before you. But if you awaken, if you dare to see, you will never starve again. Her hair, her lips, her legs, her breath, each is a note in the symphony of attraction. Together they compose a song only the bold can hear. She is playing it for you. Right now, the question is, will you finally listen? She lingers in your space, just close enough for her scent to brush against you, yet far enough to maintain the illusion of innocence. That scent, subtle perfume, warm skin, a trace of her hair, is not accidental. Women understand the power of proximity. They hover within the magnetic field of your presence, daring you to notice she could stand elsewhere, She could speak from a safer distance, but she doesn't. She chooses to invade the invisible boundary of your body. That is not courtesy. That is a declaration. Look at her hands. When desire stirs, the hands betray restlessness. She may toy with her jewelry, sliding a ring up and down her finger. She may trace the stem of her glass or run her nails across the table's edge. These gestures are displacement, the body searching for touch, but unable to touch you openly. It's an unconscious rehearsal, a proxy for contact. And if her hands accidentally graze yours, if her fingers linger a fraction longer than necessary, you have entered forbidden territory. That is no accident. That is invitation cloaked in clumsiness. Consider the way she listens. A woman attracted is never distracted. She leans in as though your words are more than sound. They are nourishment. Her eyes track your lips, not just your eyes. Her head tilts, exposing her neck, signaling openness, submission, and curiosity all at once. Women do not tilt their heads for men they do not desire. It is the body's way of saying, I trust you. I want to hear more. I want to give more. If you miss this, you miss one of the most ancient signs of longing. And then there is the accidental touch, the brush of her arm, the playful shove, the sudden closeness in a crowded space. Society allows her to mask it as coincidence, as humor, as harmless contact. But beneath that mask is hunger. The feminine body rarely touches by mistake. Her skin seeks yours because her desire cannot remain caged. That fleeting graze is a spark thrown onto dry kindling. The question is, will you light the fire, or will you pretend it never happened? But men are guilty of a grave blindness. They crave clarity, certainty, declarations. They wait for words. I like you. I want you. Take me. Words will never come. Attraction is encrypted, encoded in the silent drama of gestures. And most men, blind to the language of desire, let her signals vanish like smoke. They laugh. They nod. They move on, leaving her frustrated, embarrassed, ashamed of having shown too much. And so she hardens, withdraws, denies. You have lived this cycle before. You've felt women grow cold without explanation. Now you know why. Here is the forbidden truth. Women are terrified of rejection, even more than men. The difference is, men risk rejection with words. Women risk it with signals. If she leans in, touches her hair, exposes her throat, and you ignore it, she feels rejected in the deepest sense. She feels she exposed her soul, and you spat on it. This is why her warmth turns to ice in seconds. This is why she leaves, why she vanishes, why she pretends she never cared. Your blindness created her cruelty. Do you understand now? Every gesture is a gamble. Every flick of her hair, every brush of her hand, every lean into your space is her risking humiliation. She is offering you her secret, wrapped in silence. And if you don't seize it, she will never forgive you. Attraction is not polite. It is not patient. It is fleeting, volatile, burning. The man who reads the signs becomes the man she cannot forget. The man who misses them becomes the ghost she erases without mercy. So you must ask yourself, how many times have you murdered her desire with your hesitation? How many women have you driven away because you were too afraid to assume she wanted you? You told yourself you were being respectful, cautious, safe. But safety is death in the world of attraction. She does not want a man who waits for permission. She wants a man who sees, who knows, who acts without hesitation. That is the essence of masculine power. The ability to read the unspoken and move with certainty. Her signals are not random. They are the ancient language of the feminine. Her nearness, her touch, her tilt, her laughter. These are her confessions. She wants you right now. The only question is, will you answer or will you remain blind? One more fool wandering in the dark. Her silence becomes heavier than her words. You sit across from her, the conversation flowing, but in the moments between sentences, the truth is deafening. Her eyes linger in the pause. Her lips curl with unspoken intent. Her body sways slightly toward yours as though magnetized. This is not emptiness. It is the tension of attraction condensed into stillness. Silence, in the feminine, is a sacred tool. It is the space where she tests you, where she waits to see if you can feel her desire without her ever confessing it. If you fumble, if you rush to fill the gap with nervous chatter, the spell breaks. If you hold steady, if you let the silence throb, she feels it too. And in that charged quiet, she knows you understand. Watch the way she withdraws, only to return moments later. It's the push and pull of her nature. 1 second she retreats, glancing at her phone, shifting her posture as if pulling away. The next second she leans back in, brushing your arm, asking a question she doesn't need to ask. This dance is not indecision. It is ritual. The feminine offers herself in fragments, teasing the masculine to step forward. She cannot simply hand herself over. She must test whether you will cross the distance. If you interpret her retreat as rejection, you lose. If you see it as the rhythm of her attraction, you win. She's not pushing you away. She is daring you to follow. Her laughter changes as the night deepens. At first, polite, measured, controlled, but as desire uncoils, her laughter becomes unguarded, almost musical. She touches her lips as she laughs, her eyes closing longer than necessary, her body shifting toward yours with every wave. Women laugh hardest when they want to cover the intensity of what they feel. It's not your words that make her laugh. It's your presence, your energy, the way her body betrays its secret hunger in sound. And what about her gaze? She avoids it when you look directly, but when you glance away, you catch her staring. This is the paradox of female desire. Direct eye contact is too exposing, too dangerous. But the stolen glance, the hidden stare, is the truest sign. If she looks at you when she thinks you are not watching, if her eyes trace your body, your mouth, your hands, then you have already entered her imagination. Her glance is a trespass into the forbidden. And once she lets her mind wander, her body follows. You, however, have ignored these signs before. You let her hover near you, brush your arm, tilt her head, and you rationalized it away. You told yourself it was coincidence. You were too afraid to assume she wanted you, too timid to embrace the truth that was pulsing right before you. That fear has cost you more women than you dare to admit. The brutal truth is this: hesitation kills attraction faster than rejection. A woman would rather be boldly misread than cautiously ignored. At least boldness acknowledges her presence, her magnetism, her attempt to signal. Blindness insults her more than rejection ever could. Why do women signal instead of speaking? Because open desire is still taboo. She risks judgment, ridicule, loss of value if she declares herself. So she builds a labyrinth of signals, subtle, plausible deniability wrapped around hunger. She wants you to notice, but she wants to be able to deny if you don't act. It is a dangerous paradox, a razor's edge, and only men with eyes sharp enough and will strong enough can walk it. This is why so many men fail. They wait for certainty, but certainty never comes. Attraction is never announced. It is encoded. This is where masculine strength is tested. To read her signals requires more than sight. It requires presence. You cannot be distracted, anxious, or lost in your head. You must feel her rhythm, sense the shift of her body, hold the silence, catch the glance. Masculinity is not about brute force here. It is about awareness, patience, and the courage to act when her signals appear. You either rise to the test, or you remain the boy who never sees, never claims, always waiting for a clarity that never arrives. And so the final truth emerges. Desire is never spoken, only signaled. Her body is the script, her silence the punctuation, her laughter the disguise. She will never tell you she wants you. She will only show you through parted lips, tilted neck, lingering glance, restless hands. To miss these is to miss everything. To see them is to enter the forbidden kingdom of the feminine, where her need burns beneath the veil of restraint. Do not be the man who stays blind. Learn to see, or you will starve at the banquet of desire forever. Desire is never spoken, only signaled. Learn to see it, or be blind forever. Subscribe to the Stoic Path for more archetypal truths, Jungian psychology, and timeless philosophy.